In this video, I'm going to illustrate why you should inspect and possibly change some parts on your brake system if you know they've been overheated. You know, this could be caused during driving conditions like driving down real steep mountain passes and you know your brakes have gotten extremely hot, or it could be with an older car where you know the calipers have gotten hot and you've actually seen your wheels smoking. So if that should be the case, you just don't want to ignore it. And you know that if you start to feel some brake pulsation in the pedal, that's when you hit the brakes hard, going fast, you'll feel the pedal kind of shake right back through your leg. That brake pulsation, by the way, is an indication that you probably have overheated your brakes. So I'm going to show you some of the things you should inspect, how you can test for warped brake rotors, and then I'm going to encourage you, strongly encourage you, to take action if you find any problems. You know, I thought I would set up the dial here and check the run out to see whether or not these rotors really are warped, because I said usually when they get really hot like this one, you can see the blue color, they probably are warped. So even if you clean them up and put new pads on, notice these aren't even very badly worn as far as thickness. So check the run out here now, and let's see how many thousandths of an inch this will move as I rotate this very carefully. Look at that, we got about 5 thousandths of an inch. Now maximum run out on most rotors is right around 2.5 thousandths. So this is well beyond the maximum allowable. And we are going to get brake pulsation. I can almost guarantee you if I just put new pads on. Now, Jerson just told me that a few weeks ago he's coming down the mountain passes and he really had to do some heavy braking. And he said now his brake pedal pulsates. I was just saying, I can't stand pulsation. Of all the things in driving, I just can't stand it. So this is going to bring me back to this issue here. I talked about glazing of the pads. If you get in a situation where you know you've overheated your brakes, let's say you don't want to replace the rotors just yet, I would highly recommend that you at least replace the pads, because once these pads get glazed over like that, they stop wearing, and they really need to wear a little bit to really grab the rotor under heavy braking. So in a situation like this with glazed pads, you could effectively lose your braking in a panic braking situation. Okay, I have this set up on the left side. Remember, this was the rotor that wasn't quite as blue as the right side, but I have it on the outside here about 1/4 inch down from the outside lip, and we're going to turn it very slowly. Notice it's moving both ways. There it goes. So it's over 2, but man, it's close. This is when you have to kind of make a command decision. Of course, I'm already concerned about the heat of this rotor. Let's put it on the inside face and see if that makes any difference. If you have a questionable rotor, I always recommend you check the run out on both sides, particularly if it's been overheated. Remember, in the previous video, I talked about the scoring, and the overheat occurred mostly on this side because this was the side where the piston and the caliper were stuck. So let's take a look at this one. Look at that. It's actually got 2 places where it's moving. So we've got some excessive wear on this side, coupled with the run out on the other side. This rotor needs to be changed. I'm sure some of you are probably thinking, well, Kent, how does a new rotor look? So I thought I'd go ahead and set up this dial indicator again with the new rotors installed. Now let's go through this again and take a close look at that dial as I do this to see just how smooth these ones are. You know, at the most, we're showing about 0.5 thousandths, but that's probably just from me jerking the rotor. So if I do it very smoothly, you can see that needle is hardly moving at all. So you know from this test, I'm going to have some really smooth acting brakes at high speed. In this case, with this old Mercedes, of course, it was frozen brake calipers. And that's usually caused by lack of frequent fluid changes, and also can be caused by rubber hoses that deteriorate over time. So I'm going to have to replace a number of parts on this car, but I guarantee you, after seeing those brake pads glaze like that, and after testing those old rotors, I was not going to leave them on the car.